Hey, how are you? My name is Ben and I'm a movie buff. I'm joined here by my lovely wife Kayla today, and we are talking about Shazam. So Kayla and I got the opportunity to go to an advanced screening of Shazam on the 23rd of March, knowing that the movie comes out on the 5th of April. So it's going to be one of those rare opportunities where we get to do a review of the movie before most of you will probably see it. So for those of you that don't know, Shazam is a movie about this kid named Billy Batson. He ends up in this foster home, but he's also trying to look for his real mother. He doesn't know who his real mother is, so he's been searching for her for a long time. All the while, he gets transported to this magical lair where he meets this wizard, and he's given the powers of Shazam. So anytime he says the word Shazam, he turns from a young kid into this fully grown superhero. So obviously he has to fight evil, but then he's also trying to figure out what his superpowers are and who he is as this new superhero. So, Kayla, first off, what did you think about the movie?
I really liked it. It was very enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty fun superhero movie. It was nice, even though it had more serious notes to it in Shazam as well, that it was just a superhero movie that had a lot of fun and a lot of charm and a lot of warmth. I really enjoyed the performances by the three main leads. Zachary Levi, who I've been a fan of for a while, he was just hit it out of the park again as far as his comedic delivery was with his lines. He's just someone who knows how to deliver a good funny line and have good facial expressions. Not as much physical comedy in this one as we've seen him like in Chuck, but he was still really hilarious. And the two young lads who played Billy and Freddie were just amazing in this.
Kayla and I have both seen the show Chuck, a show that she loves and that I like. Well, one thing we can agree on is that Zachary Levi was the standout star of that show, without a doubt. So one of my hopes going in to see Shazam was that he would bring that level of entertainment in his performance, along with comedy, which he absolutely did. I mean, I don't think they could have picked a more perfect person to play a kid who's now a fully grown superhero.
He's a big kid.
Yeah, he plays it like a big kid, and he's a lot of fun to watch in the movie.
When Billy first finds out he's now the superhero, it's just very believable with how any other 14-year-old would respond to this. The way him and Freddie kind of handled the situation and trying to figure out what Shazam's powers are and the things that they do because they're 14-year-old boys. A lot of the choices that they make or things that they test out is pretty funny and pretty believable. Like, this is what a regular 14-year-old would probably do if superpowers existed.
For me, I would say that was actually possibly the strongest part. The 20-25 minutes where he gets his powers and they're trying to figure out what's going on and how to use the powers, and of course they show a bit of it in the trailer with the whole "you have bullet immunity" scene. There's a lot of other stuff on top of that, and it's really fun to see them just figure out, just realizing the joy of how cool it'd be if you became a superhero and what fun things could you do.
The rest of the movie is pretty good too. It's seeing how so you got this boy who's now got these superheroes, what's he going to do now? And I liked where they went with it. I enjoyed the end scene, despite it being a tad on the longer side, just kind of what we learn in the end and how it finishes off, and the lessons, takeaways from the movie itself are really good too.
Yeah, no, that's right. There's a lot of fun to be had in the finale, even though it is a little on the longer side. There are a few things that happened that, when I watched them happen, my first thought was wow, they did it in the first movie. They didn't wait for the sequel. They just brought it right in, which, is kind of cool because it means you don't have to wait 3 years for the next movie to come out to see something like that. There's a lot of fun to be had for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, to echo what you were saying earlier, I really like the performances, especially Zach Levi, who I knew would do a great job, and he did. I like the kind of balance of tone in the sense that the movie, for the most part, is warm and fun and lighthearted, but it does get a little serious here once in a while. And obviously, without giving any spoilers, because this is a spoiler-free review, there's something that happens in the second half of the movie that I saw playing differently. It seemed to me like they set something up in the first half, and you feel like in the second half, they're going to do kind of a pretty traditional thing that kind of, just kind of moves us along. But what's interesting is that they do decide to do something different with it, something that you might not expect out of such a fun, lighthearted movie. But it works. right? It's one of those things that it happens and you feel like that was the best decision they could make, and that you wouldn't want them to take the traditional happier route, if you will. As for criticisms, one for me is that I do feel like the film is a little too long. I feel like they probably could have shaved about 15-20 minutes off of the movie because it is a little more than 2 hours long. It seems to me like it's one of those movies that takes a little long to get to where it needs to go to, right? So we all know that at some point, fairly early in the story, that Billy Batson goes to the lair, he gets the powers of Shazam, and then he becomes a superhero. But however long it takes to get there, it felt a little too long for me. I felt like they really needed to trim that up a bit. And part of that is due to the opening scene, which it happens, and then you feel like, okay, well, now we're going to get into the real meat of the movie. But then it kind of keeps on going. And I do feel like they could have trimmed the opening and tightened it up just a little bit to get to the thing that we were all expecting, which is Billy getting the powers of Shazam and moving on from that.
And also, I would have to agree with you for the first scene. So it's a scene that doesn't involve our main hero yet, but it's still a necessary scene, but that it just goes on for too long. There's also a stylistic choice that they make in the middle of it that just feels a little off. It doesn't match up well. It feels like it's trying to put something funny in a non-funny situation, and it doesn't work. I didn't know how I was supposed to respond. And
there was also another criticism you had for the movie too, right?
Yeah. So I've seen movies like 13 Going on 30 or Jacob, where you have a person who's supposed to be young, be a person is stuck in an older person's body.
That's right, and therefore are looked upon as an adult.
When they're a kid in an adult's body. And I've seen, a whole bunch of different comedy that comes with that and different situations that they put them in. And for the most part, I like a lot what this movie did. There is one gag that happens that I just don't find very funny, and I can't say what it is because this is a spoiler-free review, but I just find it isn't funny, and it's a bit problematic depending on how you want to explain things to the younger audiences watching. And I just didn't find it was necessary. I think they could have just, had another situation that would have been equally, they could have made another joke, and they didn't have to go to this.
Those are our thoughts on Shazam, guys. Because I give movie ratings on IMDb, I'm giving this movie a 7 out of 10. It was good. I had a good time with it. I think it's a bit too long. I think the introduction, the first 30 minutes are a bit rough. But beyond that, the movie is still very fun and enjoyable and has a few surprises here and there. And Zach Levi, as always, is just very funny to watch. Any other thoughts for you, Kayla?
No, I just really enjoyed it as well. I thought it was hilarious. I really like how it ends in the final message that it's really sending.
Other than that, thank you for watching this video. Please be sure to subscribe to my channel, comment, like, and share this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Hey, how are you? My name is Ben, and I am a movie buff. I'm joined by my laughing wife here, Kayla. She's my wife, and she's my life. And she laughs, which is great.
It's not right now.
It means we're not, yeah. So we're going to do a review of Shazam, which she found hilarious. So funny she could not contain her laughs.